Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Kelvin Wilson of We Do Movies, We Do TV, Movies, Food, and Hip Hop. And as always, I am here with another We Do commentary video. So recently, comedian and actor Faizon Love was on shows like Sway in the Morning, The Breakfast Club, and one of the topics that he brought up was about Dave Chapelle. Now, he was prefacing his comments as far as Dave Chapelle as a comedian, saying that Dave Chapelle isn't grown like a Kevin Hart or any other comedian, and how he was basically manufactured by white America, which I truly don't believe, because if you look at Chappelle's story, you know, he started comedy when he was 14, doing stand-up in nightclubs. He was on Star Search. He was on Def Comedy Jam. Like, he paved his way into doing stand-up. That's why I just take what Faizon said, maybe with a little bit grain of salt. Like, yes, that, you know, Chappelle was known as Pilot Boy because he had done 19 pilots for TV shows that all failed. Yes, Chappelle and his friend Neil Brennan wrote and created Half Baked, and the movie didn't do so well. But that was because of a number of reasons. It wasn't because of Chappelle and Chappelle not knowing, you know, how to do comedy. And, you know, Neil Brennan and Chappelle did create Chappelle's Show. I think Charlie Murphy did have some ideas for certain sketches. Of course, the true Charlie Murphy Hollywood stories are a part, you know, of the show. But for Faizon Love to say that Chappelle's show wasn't funny because of Charlie Murphy, I think that really, to me, is a slap in the face to Chappelle as an artist. And to me, I think Faizon, well, maybe he has a little bit of fact here and there, and I can dissect it for what it is, but it comes off as hate. Now, I don't know, you know, maybe some of you may agree with Faizon. I don't particularly agree with Faizon. I actually love Faizon, and if he hears this commentary, you know, I hope he doesn't, you know, come at me or anything like that, because I'm actually a fan of Faizon. I think he's funny. I think the roles that he picks is funny. I wish he would be in more stuff. I wish he was more visible, like in some stuff, because I think, you know, when he does comedic stuff, he's funny. When he does like drama, he's actually really good. But most comedians are, if you think about it. I just feel like what was said came from like hate. Like, and I'm not saying, you know, like, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I truly get that. Like, because I have my opinions, especially when I do these We Do commentaries, when I do my movie reviews or my television reviews. These are my opinions about what I thought about certain subjects, certain films, certain television shows, certain music. Like, all of this stuff is my opinion. So I would never say that a person is not entitled to their opinion. But when I hear an opinion and I look at it for what it is and just say, that kind of sounds like hate. Now, granted, this all kind of stemmed from a conversation he was talking about Monique's boycott of Netflix. And he talked about the whole equal pay stuff. And he was saying, like, of course, Monique probably will not get the same pay. Like, Amy Schumer didn't get the same pay as Chris Rock or a Dave Chapelle. But he was just going, but Faizon was just going on about how, you know, Chappelle didn't deserve that much money. He didn't, you know, he's not funny. He thinks that Kevin Hart is funnier than Chappelle, which to me, like, I understand that Kevin Hart is your boy. You gonna roll with your boy. I do it all the time, and as much as I like Kevin Hart, I love Chappelle probably more than Kevin Hart. And who cares if Dave Chapelle didn't come up in the same ranks as you guys? Like, he was on Def Jam. Maybe he wasn't always around those particular spots, but and who cares, like, if his parents were educators and they were middle class black people. Like I had two parents and they both worked. I consider us maybe somewhat middle class, maybe somewhat lower class. Like, it was just a mix, and there was a particular time where that stuff happened, but that doesn't diminish, because of those factors, that doesn't diminish the comedy that he has. There's a lot of people, black and white, that love Chappelle. There's black, white, and Mexican and everybody that loves Chappelle. There's some people who don't like Chappelle. That's just what comedy. And the one thing that I do agree with Faizon Love is that comedy is subjective. Like, I know some people, like my ex-wife, who does not like Chappelle at all, who cannot stand Dave Chappelle's humor, doesn't like Dave Chapelle at all. But there's so many people that like Chappelle. There's so many people that like Faison. There's so many people that like this person and that person and that person. It's always, I think it's always this critique when it comes to certain comedy. Like, if you're a black male comic and you don't have the same struggles as a Faizon Love did, or like a Kevin Hart, where you're from the street and all this other stuff, it's almost like you guys are looked a certain way. Like, Chris Rock went to a all white school. You know what I'm saying? Like, but his experience, Chris Rock's experience is different. Dave Chappelle's experience is different. I mean, it's everybody's experience is different, especially when you're doing comedy. And I think that that's a good thing for comedy, because it gives you a different perspective. Now, if everybody was from the street, then it would make for the same jokes, the same punchlines, the same setups. I think it's best to come from a different place. Everybody is different. No matter what color you are, everybody is different. And I agree with that with Faizon Love. Like, comedy is very subjective, but that's the only point. And the equal pay thing, those are the only 2 points I agree with Faizon Love. Because if you look at comedians, even though most people hate Bill Cosby now, Bill Cosby had a different way of comedy. Richard Pryor, like, he started out one way and then ended up another way. But Richard Pryor had his foot on the stand-up scene and in Hollywood. So if that's the case, would you look at Bill Cosby differently because of that? Would you look at Richard Pryor differently because of that? So why are you singling out Chappelle? If the only thing that I would actually say to Faizon, you have to look at the scope of comedians and comedy. You can't just put that on Chappelle. And there's a lot of people that do think that Chappelle is the king of comedy. There's a lot of people that think Kevin Hart is the king of comedy. Like you said, Faizon, comedy is subjective. But to put a person on blast like that, I think that was wrong. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm just saying, to me, I just thought that was wrong. But that's just my opinion on the subject. What do you guys think? You can hit us up on Facebook at We Do Movies, We Do TV, Movies, Food, and Hip Hop, because I will post this and every other review that I do on those 3 sites, as well as you can check out the YouTube channel as well. And until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.